Okay, guys, so this is chapter 6, Island Come True. Okay, Island Come True. So we left off chapter 5. They made it to Neverland. Okay, the long flight. They made it to Neverland, but as soon as they got there, the pirates' cannon flew Peter out to the sea and Wendy and Tinkerbell up to the sky, to the dark, dark area of the sky. Which then Wendy didn't know how to get back, so the only thing she could do was to trust Tinkerbell. But Tinkerbell is filled with jealousy. She's filled with jealousy, and she's not all bad, but because she's filled with jealousy, she just wants to get rid of Wendy. So she's going to do something that she probably shouldn't do, but if you made an assumption of a prediction of what she might go ahead and do, you might think that she might take her to the woods. She might go ahead and take her to the pirates. I don't know. Maybe we're going to find out in this chapter. Maybe not. Maybe we're just going to be introduced to Neverland. So this is called Island Come True. And just based off of that, I'm thinking this is going to be about Neverland, the island itself. And letting us know that, hey, this island is here and it is true. It is a fact. It is happening. Okay. So, Island Come True. As though it were a living, breathing thing, Neverland seemed to sense that Peter was almost home. Like a puppy, it strained and wiggled to meet him at the door. Whenever Peter went away, the island slowed. The fairies slept late. The wild animals nursed their babies. The pirates and the lost boys and the Indians stopped fighting wars and just called one another names instead. With his return, however, the whole place started to rumble as if a train were coming. The lost boys set out to find Peter. The pirates started looking for the lost boys. The Indians began looking for the pirates, and the wild animals started looking for the Indians. All of them went around and around the island, but at the same speed, so they never met. Let us take a moment to examine each group as it passes. The first to come our way are the Lost Boys. The number of Lost Boys varies. If someone grows up, which is against the rules, he is kicked out. Right now, there are 6. They wear bear skins and carry daggers, and they creep through the bushes like soldiers in a single file. Leading the group is Toodles. Toodles has bad luck. The biggest adventures always seem to happen whenever he steps around the corner for a snack. When he returns, he inevitably finds the boys putting on bandages after a brilliant and bloody fight. He could be bitter about that, but Toodles is the sweetest and humblest lost boy. I'm going to ask you, what do you think humblest means in a moment or two here? So Toodles is the sweetest and humblest lost boy. So far we've been introduced to Toodles. Next comes Nibs, the best dressed of the lost boys, followed by Slightly, who can carve whistles out of wood and dances to his own tunes. Slightly is also the most arrogant lost boy. He sticks up his nose at everyone so much that sometimes you can see right up inside. Arrogant. So now I wanted to ask, it said Toodles is the most humble and Slightly is the most arrogant. So what do you think arrogant means if he goes ahead and he puts his nose up at everyone? Arrogant. I'm going to let you know humble and arrogant are antonyms, meaning they are the opposite. So if Toodles is the sweetest and humblest boy, humble probably means calm, nice, down to earth, realistic. Okay? And arrogant would mean the opposite. So if you're not down to earth, you kind of think you should get everything really fancy and really nice, and you think that's the only way it should be. So you kind of look down on others if they don't have nice things. Okay, you think you're better. That's more of the best way. You think you're better than other people. You're arrogant. Okay, so we have humble and arrogant. Humble, nice, kind, calm, down to earth. Arrogant, thinking you're better than others. Okay, so we have Nibs, Toodles, Slightly. Curly is the fourth boy. He is always getting into trouble and he has grown accustomed to taking the blame, even for things he didn't do. So Curly takes the blame for a lot. Last are the twins. We will not describe them because no one can ever tell them apart anyway. Instead, let's move on to the pirates. Close behind on the boys' trail, they are a scary looking bunch. Okay, so we've been introduced to the Lost Boys. Now we're going to be introduced to the pirates. Okay, Miss Caruso is just going to let her dog out real quick. Okay, sorry about that. If I knew how to edit this properly, I would cut that out. Okay, so now we're going to be introduced to the pirates. Instead, let's move on to the pirates. Close behind on the boys' trail, they are a scary-looking bunch. Leading the ragged group is the handsome Italian pirate, Secco, who carved his name in blood on the back of a warden of a prison from which he had escaped. Man, he is a pretty rough guy, huh? Behind him is the giant tattooed Bill Jukes, who once took 6 bullets before dropping the bag of gold pieces he'd been stealing. Oh man, another rough one. These are some strong pirates. Next are Cookson and Gentleman Starkly. Starkly is the most polite of the pirates. He always apologizes before stabbing anyone with his sword. That does not make it okay. Then come the Irish pirate, Smee, and Noodler, followed by a few more rough ones. Somewhere in the middle of this dark and dangerous group is James Hook, the most feared pirate of them all. His hair is styled in long, shiny black curls, framing a sternly handsome face. His eyes are deep and black and dead, unless he is plunging his hook into someone, in which case his eyes sparkle a bright and happy red. Hook is a different breed of pirate from the rest of his crew. Except at the sight of his own blood, he is courageous. So, courageous. Courageous, what does that mean? Except at the sight of his own blood, he is courageous. So courageous, if you were thinking brave, you are correct, okay? Courageous means brave. So he's brave except at the sight of his own blood. So he does not want to see his own blood. That probably means that if he sees his own blood, he kind of goes weak in the knees and he doesn't feel well. But otherwise, he's courageous. He is a master storyteller. He speaks beautifully and softly, even when he is swearing, and is never more sinister than when he is being polite. After the pirates come the Indians. Creeping quietly like shadows, they carry tomahawks and knives. Among them is Tiger Lily, the most beautiful Indian princess, whom none dare approach for fear that she will raise her hatchet to them. Behind the Indians creep the beasts. Lions, tigers, bears, and other animals. The beasts are so hungry, their tongues are hanging out. So we have the Lost Boys chasing the pirates. The pirates chasing the Lost Boys. They're just going round and round and round. The Indians chasing the pirates. The beasts chasing the Indians. Finally, there comes a giant crocodile. He is hungry too, but not for just meat. No. He has a craving for something, or rather someone very specific. The boys stop first. They are getting tired. Okay, so this again is where we have that little larger than just a space and a new indent for a paragraph. This is a break in the chapter, which is now setting a scene for what a different part. So the time before the narrator was speaking, now we're going back into the dialogue of, in this case, it's going to be of the Lost Boys. Okay, so we're still in the same chapter. We're still on the island of Neverland, but we're just changing our scenes a little bit. I wish Peter would get home already and tell us how Cinderella ends, Slightly said, out of breath. Remember, they're out of breath because they're chasing each other. Now that they can sense that Peter is back. Now the war has started again and they're all chasing each other. Toodles was about to respond when the boys heard the pirates walking and singing in the distance. The boys had stopped, but the pirates were still coming. Peter had trained the boys well, and they knew exactly what to do. In a flash, they each ran to a nearby tree. Instead of climbing up, however, the boys went down. The trees were hollow, each with a hole in it exactly as big as one of the boys, and all leading to the same underground cave. That's pretty cool. So all the trees, not all the trees, but some of the trees went ahead and they were hollowed out to lead to a cave, an underground cave. Hook had heard about these tree doors and thought it silly that each boy had his own tree. For his purpose, however, it suited him just fine. 7 trees would be easier to find than 1. The pirates soon arrived in the clearing where the Lost Boys had just been. While the others fanned out to continue their search, Hook and Smee stayed behind. I think I spotted that Nibs boy, Captain, Smee said. Shall I run after him? I could tickle him with my sword. No, Hook said. I want them all, especially their captain, Peter Pan. He cut off my arm and threw it to a passing crocodile. He waved his iron claw in the air. One of these days, I'm going to shake his hand with this. Is that why you fear crocodiles? Smee asked. Not all crocodiles, Hook replied. Just that one. It thought my arm was so tasty that it has followed me ever since, licking its lips, just waiting to eat the rest of me. The only reason it has not caught me yet is that it swallowed a clock, which ticks inside it. I always hear the beast coming and run away. One day that clock's battery will die, Smee pointed out. The ticking will stop. Aye, Hook agreed darkly, sitting down on a mushroom. It was a strangely warm mushroom, Hook thought. Standing up, he pulled at the mushroom and discovered that its top easily came off. The headless mushroom then started to smoke. Why, it wasn't a mushroom at all. It was a chimney. Down the chimney, Hook heard voices. It was the Lost Boys. He had found their cave. Looking around now, he could also see holes in 7 of the nearby trees. The entrances! I heard them say that Peter is away, Smee whispered. Hook smiled and nodded. He carefully replaced the mushroom top. He had a plan. Let's return to the ship, Hook said. We will bake a cake for them and leave it on Marooner's Rock in the Mermaid Lagoon. The boys are sure to find it and gobble it up. And it will make them sick, so we can more easily capture them. Oh, how Hook and Smee laughed as they walked back to the boat. Soon, however, another sound replaced their laughter. It was the sound of ticking. Hook stopped short, shuddering. Run! Yelled Smee. But Hook was already gone. Oh no, Hook was not staying around for that crocodile to have him come and eat the rest of him like he wanted to do. So, well, I'm going to leave you here. And with this, I want you guys to think about Do you think this plan of Hook's is going to work? He's going to bake a cake and leave it at the Mermaid Lagoon. Do you think that's going to work? Do you think the Lost Boys are going to gobble that cake up and eat it? Or do you think he should have gone ahead and had his attack when he already found out where the trees were? Do you think he'll ever find out where they are again? I don't know. So, a couple questions to think about there. Do you think that this plan is going to work of Hook's, that the Lost Boys will eat the cake that they leave? Or do you think it was not so smart to just leave and they could have placed the attack? Okay. Until tomorrow for chapter 7, I hope you guys have a great day and happy learning.